Who's gonna do our roll call? Carissa, would you like to do that for us today?
Yes, roll
All right.
call of Board of Trustees, Howard Haggard,
Here.
Diane Jordan,
Here.
Todd McDaniel,
Here.
Chad Sargent,
Here.
Brenda Walters.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Recognition of guests, we've got a room full of guests. Did everybody get signed in? Lots of folks coming in, you guys signed in? Okay, everybody good? Do we have anybody making public comments?
Yes.
Okay,
First is Ruth Nostine on agenda item number 30.
okay.
Yes, I saw that you are considering Carissa for full-time employment, and I wanted to make a comment because I've been sitting back in the library and I hear how she deals with people. She is a real asset to this community. She is friendly, she is knowledgeable, she just does a fantastic job. So I think she deserves to be full-time.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Next.
We have Bert Bollinger on item number 16.
Just give me a minute to go to 16. Okay.
Hi.
Resolution on police department. Okay, Mr. Bollinger.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm a local business owner. It's not quite in Hochatown. I thought it was going to be in Hochatown when it started. However, businesses at the other end are very much involved in what's going on here. Everyone here believes we need a police department. Everyone here saw that horrible video from across the street from that bar. Everyone saw it. We need a police department now, as soon as possible. We needed one 6 months ago. We needed one when the town was first started. Can we please get this moving along? Because what this town needs is a police department. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for speaking.
Okay, Mark Lagazino,
Yeah.
Item number,
I believe number 16 says highway.
police department.
No, the highways.
Which one are you on? What do you want to talk about?
The highway, the 5-lane, 3-lane, whatever y'all were looking
It's
at.
not on the agenda.
I think there's a agenda item on about an easement, a discussion.
Maybe on 23, the Highway 259 interim study.
Yeah, whatever you're talking about.
Yeah, that's on the
It's 23.
It's on the 23.
Gotcha. Okay. We're good. Thank you.
Alright, anyways, I got a business here. I got the local shuttle service running average of 1,000 or more miles a week, running up and down 259 right here in the Hochatown area. For one, I'm against the 5-lane. I think it's a bad idea. It's gonna increase traffic speed. You're gonna have fatality accidents. I've also been in law enforcement for 34 years now, working accidents, working traffic control. 3-lane, I think it'd be fine. My main thing, I think you need roundabouts instead of traffic lights. And if nothing else, you need to take a step back from your 5-lane right now, rescind your decision on it, do a study looking at roundabouts, looking at 3-lane again and your 5-lane again. But traffic is crazy trying to get through here. 45 minutes to go 2 miles. Tourists are gonna leave, they're gonna quit coming if it takes them that long to get through town. Branson, Missouri, Pensacola, Florida, Tahlequah, they've all started going to roundabouts. They said it solved all the problems with traffic that red lights were creating. You know, what you decide to do is on you. My opinion is leave it the way it is, widen it a hair, put sidewalks, bicycle lanes in, median down the middle, no left turns allowed, one-way traffic. If you wanna make a left in the petting zoo, go up around the roundabout, come down, make a right turn. If you wanna turn left out of gutter chaos, you can't do it. You gotta make a right turn, go up, come around the roundabout and down. Keep traffic in a fluid motion at all times. It's gonna lighten up your traffic load. Like I said, it's gonna reduce speeds. You don't need any more speed than 35 miles an hour through this town. You're gonna get somebody, I think for 2 years now, I've been asking that we get crosswalks in front of Girls Gone Blind, going over to Grateful Head and around the petting zoo. That's your highest pedestrian area. I personally almost ran over a little girl right out in front of me. I'm not talking about anything fancy, but flashing lights, some yellow paint, a couple paintbrushes, get them put down, they hit a button, the lights flash yellow, you yield to it. Traffic has to stop. It's not gonna delay your traffic any more than what's being delayed right now. I mean, you're in a standstill as it is on the weekends. I'm just asking you to look into it. I really think roundabouts are gonna solve your problem. I think 5-lane is gonna create you more problems. People trying to pull out across 5 lanes of traffic. It's gonna increase traffic speeds. DeQueen, Arkansas's got a 5-lane on the west end of town, 45-mile-an-hour zone. They sit out there and write tickets all day long. People doing 60-mile-an-hour through there. It's just my opinion. I wanted to put it out there, but I really wish you would. Everybody come get in my van. We'll do a road trip. We'll go somewhere. Conway, Arkansas, roundabout capital of the dang South. Tahlequah, wherever, Branson, Missouri. Let's go look at it. Let's talk to their administrators and say, would you do it again? What's the pros and cons of y'all doing it? See what happens. I may be totally wrong, but I think it's worth stepping back, studying, and looking at. Plus, you can put a median in. You can beautify it with trees and everything. You don't have cars sitting there idling, emitting gases, waiting on red lights. You can beautify the roundabout, put a fountain, digital billboard in it, advertising upcoming events, stuff like that. Plus, it's gonna be easier for pedestrians across the road as Hochatown grows with more businesses. And it's gonna cost you a lot less money, a lot less maintenance, and when the electricity goes out during a storm, roundabout still works. Red lights are horrible. And they're never working right, they're all the time malfunctioning, and just creates a complete cluster up here when you have all the tourists in town. Don't wanna see it go downhill, but I know a lot of my customers, and I haul a lot, over 100 on Friday and over 100 on Saturday, they all complain about the traffic. They don't come up here to sit in traffic, they can do that at home. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you for your comments, Mark. Okay. Anybody else?
No, that's,
Okay. Thank you, guys. Public comment, okay, consent docket. Agenda item number 5, the following items are considered routine by the Board of Trustees and will be enacted with one motion. Discussion desired on any item, that item will be removed from the consent docket and considered separately. Approval of the June 30th special meeting minutes, approval of the June 5th regular meeting minutes, and approval of payment of claims. Do we have discussion? Anything anybody wants to pull out?
I would like to adjust the claims list. Yesterday, we got a new invoice in from Frank Crawford, and this was to prepare our budget amendment that we did. It's for $110. I would like to add that to the claims list, so we can get paid.
Can see a copy. Anybody else want to see it?
Where's our claims list in our docket here? Remind us.
Like the 4th tab down.
There's claims.
Oh, I see it, in
Also, yeah, Charles did. Also, for the last year and a half, our treasurer has been working off of software, off of his computer, which is software put on his computer, working with, help me Charles, working with, QuickBooks. QuickBooks is no longer, servicing the, version that he has. They've gone to a new online version. It's $15 a month. And it's online and it's updated constantly. It's the latest version that's out there. Charles is asking us permission of the board to put this on our monthly charges, add another $15 a month for the outlook.
My suggestion would be that the claim that we didn't have in the packet, go ahead and wait till next month. I don't think Crawford will get too upset with that since it wasn't on there. But if that's a future one, I think that's fine. It just needs to be on the claims list when we start having that come due, the additional
Let it
15.
go kind of stuff.
Yeah, so that should be fine.
Okay.
I would just vote on the claims list as is and then make sure Crawford gets in there for next month.
Okay, y'all good with that?
And if he gets mad, I'll miss my call.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Y'all wanna take a roll call vote for the consent docket? Good. Okay.
roll call vote for item 5 consent docket. Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
and Brenda Walters.
Yes.
Discussion, consideration, and possible action for removed consent documents. Treasurer's report. Okay, Charles?
You guys should have copies of the profit loss and balance sheet. We took in lodging tax, 166,000 and some change, and sales tax of 280,000. Our total income, and we did have some, cabin permit fees. So total income we have is $448,994.97. Our expenses, totaled $62,206.76 for a net income of $386,788.21. And then our balance sheet, shows the, liabilities and equity of $4,472,105.01. That is, retained earnings and the bank balance as of June 30th. That's all I have.
Any discussion on the treasurer's report? Let's take a roll call.
Make a motion to accept treasurer's report.
Okay, we have a motion by Howard, do we have a second?
Second.
By Brenda, roll call vote please.
Roll call vote to accept the treasurer's report. Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Take those. Okay, we need to move some things around here. Let's see what we got. Okay, let's move, we're gonna go a little out of order so that people that wanna leave can.
Are you looking for a plat approval?
Yeah,
That should be number 28 or 29, right around there, 29.
29. Okay, item number 29, discussion, consideration, possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement to approve the Timber Creek Estates plat review, and this is phase what?
11.
Should be 11.
Phase 11?
Y'all had signed this before, but we vacated the plat, and we have the size of it, so now it's half the size, and we redid the plat.
Do we have a full-size copy of that?
And Adam looked it over.
We haven't had a chance to look at this. We may need to, is this for us to keep, or is this your own?
I've got the whole, all of
Okay.
the diamonds.
I think we'd want one copy for us to review. Yeah.
It's the same plat that y'all signed before. That we vacated it, this was part of it, and this is
We can keep it.
it now.
Okay. What's going on over here?
That's Igor, that's his.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna
And
propose
from a
that I'm
legal
gonna need some more time to look at all this.
From a legal perspective, we don't have our zoning in place yet, so there's not anything different than the flats we've looked at before with respect to the requirements that the town has, just from my perspective, legal perspective, not my
Do you
perspective.
got the language on here for the roads?
For,
Yeah, that should be, it's down in the corner.
It's in the bottom left, Liz, bottom,
Yeah. Bottom right.
unless it's changed in the larger print.
Usually. I'll look at it.
Certificate and dedication.
Yeah, it's gonna be in here.
Reserve the areas indicated as roadway, drainage, and utility easement for the purpose of locating construction, roadway, and utility functions, service of public infrastructure to the ground, with rights of ingress and egress in the township. It doesn't go to,
It's got the quasi-public roadway language in there that I need, so can I turn that one? Just read it a little bit. We're trying to make sure if we need to come in and fix a road, we can do that as a town.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to look at.
and we're actually giving you a letter saying that we, as the developer, that you can. and we're filing that, affidavit at the courthouse.
Do you have a copy of that with you by chance?
I don't.
Okay.
I got it all signed and everything, meant to bring it to you, and I forgot.
Okay, yeah, let's, I'd love to get a copy of that whenever you can.
Yeah, it's for Choctaw Mountain, all of theirs. It's for 3 different LLCs and several different trustees. We had, Brian Schmidt write it up for us, and it's all been signed and notarized and everything.
Okay.
There's so much noise with the motion.
Yeah.
You don't see that.
Oh, I saw the stuff.
It'd be,
In the essence of moving things along.
Chuck, it'd be the mayor.
The mayor signed
Yeah,
it?
after the board makes, yes, sir. After, so, here, Diana, if you wanna make the motion that,
Yeah, so I'm proposing that we have a motion that we would go ahead and accept the plat as presented, under the consideration that there's no other changes made besides the part that's been vacated, and that we received the letter that we've discussed today,
Okay.
and our lawyer approves that.
Yeah, I think if we get that upon receipt of that, then the mayor could sign the plat.
Yeah, so-
If everybody goes in and approves it today.
so just make a time to come up here, and then we'll sign your plat and just bring the letter with you, and things are
Okay.
good to go.
Will
Is
do.
that,
If everybody votes yes on it.
Yeah, if that motion's approved,
Okay.
there you go.
you're okay with it that way?
Yes.
I don't want you to have to wait another month.
Pardon?
I don't want you to wait another
Yeah,
month.
that's fine, I appreciate that.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the plat as presented upon the condition that we have the letter that's proposed, and that there were no other changes made besides the vacated?
I make the motion that we accept the revised plat with the conditions.
So a motion by Brenda, seconded by Chad.
Roll call vote for item 29 to accept the plat. Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Would you, hey, Carissa, just to go back to be clear, to approve the plat as amended, upon the conditions, and to approve the Timber Creek Estates plat phase 11 review. Alright,
Conditions that there were no other changes to.
right,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
and Brenda Walters.
Yes.
The motion carries.
You gonna leave this copy with us so that we
Yeah,
can review?
that'd be fun.
Okay, I promise we won't lose.
That's all right, then I'll get everything and I'll get back in touch with you.
Yeah, Chuck, just give me a call, and
Give
we'll
you a
make,
call?
yes, sir, we'll make the arrangements.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, thank y'all.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chuck.
You have a good day.
Anybody else wanna leave? Okay, back to item number 9. 8. Discussion only of the monthly report from the town administrator.
Good. All right, well, see a lot of new faces in the room today. Some of you may have seen me walking up and down one of your roads if you live over in Cedar Creek Estates. We're going through slowly but surely through every single subdivision in Hochatown trying to work on roads. Roads is a huge and important goal of ours right now, is to be able to acquire the easements and set forth the arrangements in order for us to be able to come in and maintain these roads. However, a lot of these issues is that many of the roads here in Hochatown are privately owned. So we have to go through owner by owner and by owner by owner and acquire that permission to be able to come in and maintain some of these roads here that are not currently owned and operated by the county. So it's a serious undertaking, and we've got Liz here who's going to provide us with a little bit further detail of an update, because she actually has some updates that came through as of today for us to continue progress. And so we've kind of scattered out through all the communities trying to get these easements in place. So we've got roads all up and down the list that we're scurrying through to try and get those permissions set.
Yeah, do you wanna talk about that now or later on?
Yeah, just go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's fine, that
Yeah.
way if people are here just for that, they can leave. So as Adam said, there's one group we've already got out, and Adam was literally knocking doors, I think the day before the 4th of July, and
July
then
3rd.
trying to get easements signed.
Yeah.
Because from a legal perspective, the town can't work on them if we don't have some sort of easement or ownership of the road. So we wanna make sure we don't create any issues there. We previously passed an interlocal agreement with the county that would allow us to work on county roads within the town limits of Hochatown. The problem was we were having trouble from a legal perspective, identifying which roads were truly county roads. We have analyzed, and we think there is limited liability issues for the town if we rely upon a map that we've been provided by the Board of County Commissioners, and go ahead and we're gonna prepare a resolution. Adam's gonna identify the roads of most priority that are on that map provided by a county. We're gonna have a resolution, and I expect you all will probably have a very quick special meeting sometime next week to approve that resolution, because the next day we can get to work on those roads. We won't have to wait for easements. We're gonna go ahead and get easements on those because we want to leave a legacy for this town of having everything documented correctly. But we think an interim fix is to rely upon the roads map provided by the county, the interlocal agreement that we have, and we're gonna put a resolution before you guys early next week so that we can get to work on that first set of roads. The other sets of roads that we just got the draft easements on, literally as I was driving out here today, I put it up here, are Tranquil Lane, Timberwolf Trail, I can't read my own writing, Cedar Creek Circle, Mitchell Lane, and then Brienne Circle. So we will be going around and either mailing or hand delivering to try to get those roads, the private owners, to sign off on those so that we can begin on those roads too. So there is significant energy being spent on trying to get the legal stuff that has to be done before we can touch those roads without creating problems. And I think you'll begin seeing actual work on these roads within the next 2 weeks. Especially with respect to the county roads on that map that we're gonna rely on as kind of an interim fix while we get this other documentation done, so.
Would you share a little bit about Camp Ranch?
Yeah, so on Camp Ranch Road, we've got everything evaluated on that, except there's one piece that we need a private easement on from an individual, and I don't remember their name, but it doesn't matter, but that's the only holdup on that. As soon as we get the remaining private easement executed and back to the town on Camp Ranch, that is ready to put in front of the board. We already have the resolution drafted as well. So there's a possibility if we get that, we can pass all the county roads as well as Camp Ranch in a special meeting next week. Again, if anybody knows the folks involved with that, I think we're just waiting on their attorney to provide an easement back. So, make phone calls and or offer to come by and pick it up, those sorts of things. Cause once we have that, Camp Ranch is ready to go. Which I know has been
So this is great news, because Liz and I have been duking it out for the last 2 months, because I'm just sitting here spinning my wheels. I'm ready to go get out and start working on these roads, and it's killing me because we're getting destroyed over the condition of these roads. I'm ready to get out here and get some work done. And this resolution is really going to help us charge through. And then as we continue, we're not going to stop here. There's many more roads that we still have to acquire.
The idea that we're doing as council and the team that we have working on the roads issue specifically is to get an inventory, a complete inventory of every road that's located within the town of Hochatown. You know it's county, you know it's private, you know it's got an easement, and so you'll be able to look very quickly, oh, there's an issue on such and such road, somebody called and there was washout over the weekend, oh, that's one we can send somebody out there, no big deal.
Yep.
And if it's not, we'll know who owns it, we can make a phone call. So that is a lengthy process, but we are doing the work that you guys will have to rely on for decades to go. We're doing it right.
Once it's done, it's done, and we don't have to revisit it. So it's taking a lot of time right now to get us to this point, but once it's finished, we can just get out there and start maintaining these roads as their conditions start to fall apart.
See you all next week too.
This is great.
What else is on your list real quick?
On my report, we're still doing a lot of cleanup for the STRs. We're working with Avenue. We're working through a lot of issues with that. Carissa's been fielding a lot of phone calls and walking people through that. She's done a great job, splendid. We've had a lot of meetings with our engineers with regards to wastewater services, still in preliminary design phases. We've been putting together the agreements with TSW with regards to establishing our zoning regulations and subdivision regulations. We're coming up with a road design standard as well that will be required moving forward, which is very typical, road sections and Oh gosh, what else? I'm just going. I just got
I know.
literally drove back into town from another meeting, and I haven't had a chance to put my report together yet. And it's just it's been one after another. But I'm really excited about this progress that we learned of today with regards to the roads.
Quick
good.
question.
Yeah.
Have we got you proposed utility map yet from Garver?
I do not. No.
Okay. Okay.
No, I do not have a utility map.
Anything else on
We did, they did tell us they,
day-to-day rat killing?
we did have that discussion,
I
I
don't-
remember right.
I don't think a utility map.
Well, just where they were, when we were gonna propose, where they were gonna recommend they go as far as.
Oh,
utility.
for the wastewater?
Yes.
Oh, yes, yes, so we've had many meetings with, ODOT and Garver. We've got Anthony from ODOT linked up with our, project manager, Cole Niblett, and they've been talking, we've opened up those channels of communications. We've had sit-down meetings, we've identified, several grant opportunities that once we get to those, stages in design for our utilities, that we'll be able to, pair up, the completion of our designs and our plans with when these grants are gonna be released. And actually, out of this meeting I just had yesterday and today, I found out about another $100,000 opportunity for Hochatown. So we're chugging right along with grant writing and with our infrastructure.
Good deal.
Okay, anything else on that discussion? Okay, item number 9, discussion, possible action, approval, rejection,
Oh,
amendment.
wait,
We don't do a roll call vote on discussion, no. I don't know why that
thank
doesn't.
you.
To sign the authority having jurisdiction agreement, also known as the AHJ, with the Oklahoma State Fire Marshal's Office committing the town of Hochatown to perform as the authority having jurisdiction, AHJ, to adhere to the minimum state adopted building codes and standards within its entire political subdivision boundaries pursuant to 74 OS sections 317 and 324.11. Any discussion on that? I think we
So
worked on
this
last
AHJ
night.
letter, it stands for Authority Having Jurisdiction. It's from the State Fire Marshal's Office. Again, we've been in communication with them, as we shared during our last several meetings, that currently right now, if you want any sort of fire plan review or fire plan inspection, on site, you're looking at a 4 to 6 month backlog, with the state, and this is gonna speed things up. This is a part of us being able to, show the state that we're going to have our own means of inspection. And so that's what this is. This is granting us the ability to hire out and to contract out, those inspections with, state fire marshals, which will be, later on in our agenda for Okie Fire Safety Consulting.
Any discussion? Do we have, Howard,
Yes, on the signature page,
on the signature page, where you at?
second page of the
Agreement?
agreement. You got county code official, county commissioner chair, district fire chief, county health and safety officials.
I'm gonna say, hang on, we gotta find the,
Hold up.
So what they do on this, Howard, is they
Very nice,
put all the
very nice.
different
Is this
types
generic?
in there.
Is generic?
Yeah, so
Okay.
since we're a town, it'll be the town, it'll be
It's
the
only us, we
mayor,
don't have to
it'll
have
be,
those
yeah,
other
yeah,
six.
yeah.
okay, we got it, yeah, we found it, sorry.
Okay.
they just put it in there, so whatever type of entity you are, they're trying to tell you who signs it for
Kind
your
of cranking
entity.
our budget, there's a lot of generic
Yes.
pages, okay.
Yeah, so the
Okay.
town will write their name, then the mayor will sign for the town. There's no
We
county
don't need the
signatures
rest
that
of
go
it.
on
Okay.
there,
Yep.
yeah.
I just want to clarify that.
Welcome to my current county government.
That was my question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's
the
all-
school budgets.
Okay,
Local
Okay.
Hochatown officials that will
Okay.
sign that document.
Yep, so we get this signed, we mail it back to them, they file it, and we're basically good to go with our permitting and inspection services.
okay.
Anything else?
Nope.
Do we have a motion to, approve the letter of commitment? Do a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Howard, do we have a second?
No second.
We have a second by Chad, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Roll call vote to sign the authority having jurisdiction agreement. Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay. Item number 10, discussion, consideration, possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, and or postponement to approve the invoice for CERT team CPR certification in the amount of $570. There was some discussion on this earlier, we did this several months ago. Liz, do you wanna
Yeah.
clarify that?
So this was included on the claims list before, and we decided we needed to remove it because it wasn't,
routine.
Yeah, and so we analyzed that because these funds were used for a public purpose, it's legally appropriate for the town to pay them. But we wanted to bring it out separate because of the nature of which this came about. I think everybody supports the CRT efforts, and that was really kind of formed before we had the ability to form it through the town. So from a legal perspective, I have no problem with you all approving it as an appropriate expenditure.
Do we have a motion to approve the invoice for payment?
I'll make a motion to approve the invoice for
Okay,
payment.
Brenda makes a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Todd, and we have a roll call vote to approve the invoice for certification?
Yes. Roll call vote, Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
and Brenda Walters.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item number 11, discussion, consideration, and possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement to reimburse the Hochatown Historical Association for the cost of conducting an incorporation survey in the amount of $11,137.50, which includes the outer boundary survey, subdivisions, and road right-of-way, and a 200 scale map of the entire subdivisions. Any discussion on this?
Yes. I have no problem with this, but I think from a legal standpoint, correct me if I'm wrong with this, but anyway, I think we need something from the Historical Society turning over ownership and all legal, aspects of these surveys and or maps and usage of it. If we're gonna pay for the invoices, I think it belongs to the town of Hochatown property now, and we need ownership of it.
I agree with
Is
that.
there-
Todd, are you good? Yep.
And I can
Legal?
help prepare something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way, I mean, I think that makes sense, because the idea
We want
here
the product.
is, we want
Yes.
these, and the town has been using them.
Exactly.
We have the shape files, we have all of that, so we can prepare something that's just like a assignment of all rights and interests and licensing to the town, and then it'll be the towns to be able to license out to anyone. That same analysis would apply to number
Yes.
12 as
Yes.
well.
Applies for
But I think, I mean, listen, look, I had another attorney look at this because I've been involved both in the incorporation part and this, and so I wanted to be neutral. But they found that it was an appropriate expenditure, especially where the town, we probably should have paid for them a long time ago, but we didn't have money, and now we do. I mean, HHA and the efforts that they made in defending the original road and boat annexation, and then paying for all the incorporation until the town was up and running and had money. So I think this is not only fair, but probably a good idea legally, so that we show we have ownership of the surveys. And like I said, I'm happy to draft that document if you guys approve that.
I just have a question, when it says the entire subdivision, does that mean the entire town limits, when it's just referring to?
All the subdivisions had to be put in
Okay.
that existed at the
Okay.
time, so that's probably what that refers to, is they had to overlay all the subdivisions into the map. And then that second invoice, I think, is related to, there were multiple iterations of the survey, there were some requests by the tribe to have their part added in, and so there were multiple iterations resulting in what we ultimately ended up with as the map. And so those were just probably the second invoice with all the final fees, but it was multiple years' efforts getting those surveys put together, and I can't tell you how many conference calls.
So do we wanna take action with the amendment that we get the assignment of rights use and the product? And then we'll pay the invoice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody good? Okay.
I'll make a note to get that drafted.
Okay, so do we have a motion to reimburse the HHA for the incorporation survey, after we receive the letter signing over the assignment of the rights, the use, and the products developed? Do we have a
I'll
motion?
make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Howard. We have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chad. Roll call vote, please.
Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
You probably should abstain, yeah,
I'm sorry, Todd McDaniel,
abstain.
Recused.
Yeah.
Chad Sargent,
Go ahead, Bruce.
Are you on the,
Probably
are you
don't
on
have
the
interest.
board still?
Mhm.
Yeah, I would.
Okay, abstain. Brenda Walters.
Brenda Walters,
Yes.
Motion still carries. Okay. We'll get that paid. Item number 12 is very similar. Discussion, consideration, and possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement to reimburse the Hochatown Historical Association for the cost of conducting an incorporation survey in the amount of $28,750, which includes the research, mapping, new legal descriptions, field hours accrued, and future field hours of exterior monuments only. Do we have any discussion?
I'm gonna ask a question just for a second. I think that he seconded the motion and then abstained
I
from
think he
voting.
did. I think you're right.
Let's go,
think we should
let's
vote.
go back and fix that, yeah, good
Okay.
job, Brenda.
So, back on number 11, so that Chad and Todd, due to a conflict of interest, can be removed from this item. We had a motion by Howard. Do we have a second by
Second.
Brenda?
Thank you, Brenda.
Okay. So, just to be cool, we'll just roll call vote again. Okay.
Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
I abstain.
Chad Sargent,
I'll abstain.
and Brenda Walters.
Yes.
Motion still passes. Okay, good catch, Brenda. Number 12, I'll read it again. Discussion, consideration, and possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement to reimburse the Hochatown Historical Association for the cost of conducting an incorporation survey in the amount of $28,750, which includes the research, mapping, new legal descriptions, field hours accrued, and future field hours for exterior monuments only. I have a question about future field hours.
I don't know what,
Where they came up with that language?
yeah, I don't know if that meant it was coming back out and setting those monuments.
I think what they did at that time, if I recall, was they wanted to be paid to finish the survey, and then once we paid them, they finished the survey.
That's what I'm saying, they were wanting to set some actual monuments in some places,
Okay.
and before they did that, we had to pay the entire.
Okay. But those monuments have all been set now.
Well, we can follow up and make sure.
Okay, so I think we go ahead and leave the language like that, if they
Yes.
still have some future, they need to set them, okay, I'm good with it then, that's good. Okay, any more discussion on item 12?
Yeah, because they could.
Howard, you
Make a
good?
motion to accept number 12,
Yeah.
under the same conditions of 11, to get ownership and all exclusive rights, ownership of the maps, surveys.
And any monument that's not set on will be set. Okay, we have a motion by Howard, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Brenda's got a second, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Abstain.
Chad Sargent,
I'll abstain.
Brenda Walters,
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 13, discussion, consideration, and possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, or postponement on entering into an agreement with Okie Safety Consulting LLC to provide building permitting, plan review, and inspection services for the town of Hochatown. Do we have a discussion? Adam, do you wanna start us
Would you
with
like
the
for me to explain
discussion?
the item? Okay, yeah, so Okie Safety Consulting, they're gonna be the ones that step in, they're gonna be handling our building, code inspections for, until we hire on our building code inspector. They're also gonna be taking over our fire plan review, our fire code inspections, and anything fire code related. And that goes back to the authority having jurisdiction. So authority having jurisdiction says, hey, we can perform our own permitting process and inspections process, and then here's the people that are gonna be performing that, making sure that everything's up to code, everything's good to go. They're gonna be a lot quicker than the state can get. They're also going to come in, and they mentioned that as we hire our building code inspector, that they're going to help that individual get trained up, get any certifications that they may or may not have, and just kind of show them the lay of the land. They're gonna work together, and we're gonna make sure that this permitting process goes as smoothly as possible for anyone that needs any type of a permit.
Is this, these charges back here, is this charge, and I noticed that all these funds go directly to Oakley.
Yes, so they'll be paying.
Is
Oakley
this
Safety
a
direct.
zero cost to the city?
That's,
All these
not-
fees will be collected from the builders or?
we're gonna be charged for the inspectors to come out and perform building code inspections. However, all the other charges that will occur will go straight to Okie Safety. So we're gonna be billed for the hours that they have to send someone down here, right? So they're sending someone, I guess they have someone within this county.
In the building permit,
is on their
building
payroll.
permit,
It's gonna be paid to Okie.
so you're telling me that the city is going to be,
We don't-
Temporarily until we get.
Until we have our, yes,
Yes.
until we have our own building permitting, processes, procedures, our application on our
but
website
but
online, so you
even
can
that
file it
building,
online.
even that building code enforcement officer once he becomes ours.
Yes.
You know, we hire one.
Yeah,
We've got wages, benefits, we've got everything.
yes.
We have to somewhat collect some of that back. Do we collect any of that back through building permits?
We will
no.
then, not
for-
now.
What do you?
If we have
where-
somebody
For,
on
in which part of the process?
Once we have somebody internal, we'll take
Yeah.
the building permit fee.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
use
once,
that to
once
cover.
we have someone online, we will take over the building permitting. So anything that's fire code related is still paid to them directly,
Okay.
and they just basically shed the responsibilities for
Yes.
building permitting,
Okay,
for regular building permits
okay.
and inspections. So they're gonna be a turnkey in-house solution 100% until we have our guy up and online and running, and our building permitting systems are online. And then they'll let us take that back over, and then they'll just kind of take a step back, and then they're just gonna do anything that's fire code related.
Is that an annual,
That's, I just said that, yeah. Huh?
Adam, is that an annual contract or is it monthly? How does it work?
I mean,
or is it just? how does
You
it work?
can,
The way I read
there's
it,
a termination.
we don't get charged, or they don't,
Yeah, you don't get charged unless you're using it.
Unless you're
Sorry,
using
I'm
it.
gonna copy of it too.
Yeah.
I think we're
Oh,
still
813.
18 months away from actual first building permit.
Yeah.
3.1.
30 days written
Sticky
notice to
stuff.
cancel it at page, 3.1, section 3.1, you can cancel it on 30 days notice.
Okay.
Yep. But if you don't use it, you don't pay. But we can
So-
also just get out of it.
I also have it on my computer. I didn't have a chance to print it all out because I didn't have my report ready yet. But Carissa and I, we went out and we did a fee schedule comparison. We compared Idabel, we compared Broken Bow, we compared Edmond, Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, Norman, Blanchard, Newcastle. Like we went through all these different communities to see what they were charging for their permitting processes, what their inspections were, to make sure that these are fair rates. And it turns out that these are very competitive on a lot of these across the board, especially here locally. These are gonna be very fair in terms of price. So there's not gonna be any gouging that goes on.
Good.
Brenda, you good too?
Okay. How, Alan, when we get ready to, how are we going to start communicating all this to our town builders and contractors? Send out letters or contact them, how we gonna do this?
He asked me.
Adam, you wanna follow up on what Howard
I'm
just?
sorry.
Yeah, I think
I
it's a
was
follow-up.
That's
answering
my
the
fault,
question
I
too late.
distracted him.
When, if we agree with this, which we probably will, how are we gonna start contacting, all of our construction contractors, general building contractors?
Yeah.
To let them know there's now a system in place.
Well, we'll contact as many as we can out front. We'll try and make some posts on Facebook. We'll put a blurb out on the website. We're gonna put the contact information out there on the website as well, to let them know that, hey, we're gonna be turning these permitting systems online. Here's kind of what you do, here's what you call, here's what to expect. So we'll try and put it all out there. We'll give a nice time buffer, cause this is gonna be an adjustment for everybody out here. So, you know, we'll be patient and we'll just try and help get the word out as much as possible. But, I mean, we can't be responsible for contacting everybody under the sun, but we're gonna try and get it out there as much as possible. I mean, we're looking to any way that we can. Oh, I thought you were like, one day, she's like, don't say that.
My foot slipped on the chair.
But yeah, I mean, we're gonna try and be transparent with it and put it out there that this is something to be expected, and we'll put out a time buffer. It's not gonna be an overnight thing where, all of a sudden you're gonna be in trouble. No, we're gonna try and work with folks and get them to come in and let's do this. Let's get it right.
Everybody good?
Mm-hmm.
Discussion? Okay, do we have a motion to enter into the agreement with Okie Safety Consulting to provide the building permitting, plan review, and inspection services for the town of Hochatown? Motion?
I'll make a motion, we enter into agreement with Oki.
Okay, Todd made a motion, do we have a second?
No, second.
Second by Todd, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters.
Yes.
Motion passed. Item number 14, discussion, consideration, and possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement to enter into service agreement with TSW Planning Services of Tulsa, Oklahoma, to engage with the Planning and Zoning Commission and provide services to complete a draft zoning regulations for the town not to exceed $48,500. We've done a lot of work in this area already. Brenda served on that committee. Ruth has served on that committee. Do you guys have any discussion that you wanna add to this? I think we're
I've got
Adam?
an explanation if you guys wanna hear it. Okay, so
Yes, please.
TSW is a professional planning, firm that is, based out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. They have folks that are, AICP certified in planning, so they are professionals. They're going to basically take us to the end zone whenever it comes to our zoning regs. I mean, we're probably 3/4 of the way along. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed, a lot of things that need to be elaborated on. So we're still several months out, I think, in terms of a couple of meetings, having some public meetings. Also, before we adopt our zoning regulations, we're gonna have public engagement, like workshops, so we're gonna invite folks from throughout the community to come out and get involved, to have their say in what they believe the zoning regulations should look like in this certain area, et cetera. And we'll kind of shape up those later on. The 48,000, again, that is not a hard cost, that is a to not exceed, right? So that's very conservative. We added a buffer pad in there, so that way, we don't have to come back and make any amendments again. I think that we're gonna come in under that cost. I would anticipate, about maybe another 3 meetings for them to kind of come down, get engaged, assess where we're at. They've already done a full assessment of our zoning regs and made some recommendations to us, for free. I think these people will be great, to come down here and get involved with our community and help us finish these zoning regulations that we've been working on for quite some time now, because it's time we get something that's implemented here.
And I'll comment from a legal perspective, I don't have any issues with the primary terms, if you guys wanna go ahead and approve that. I do have a list of little nits that I'd like to clean up, like what jurisdiction covers this contract and some appropriations clauses, so if you guys wanna approve the payment terms, et cetera, I'll get the contract negotiated and turn it back over for signature. That's what this is.
Yeah, because
Is
I
that-
have,
is that what
I don't
it-
consider this
is this
nitpicking, I
you?
consider this important
Yes,
stuff.
yeah, these are all the things that I'm gonna
Okay,
negotiate.
I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
this is you.
Yeah.
This is
Okay,
me negotiating all these, the things that
Okay,
don't matter as far as how much you're gonna pay and what work product you're gonna get, but the things that if something goes wrong, how do we deal with it? I wanna clean up some of that, but I don't have any problems with the term or the
So are
scope
we,
of services.
so Liz, are we, contractually obligated with Julie at all now?
No, I've not seen any agreement, any hard agreement.
Well, it's just like your agreement with any attorney or consulting group, if you don't use them, you don't pay.
Just an hourly type situation.
Okay.
So if there's not ongoing work
I
being
didn't think
performed
we did, but
there,
I wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that she wasn't.
yeah, if there's no ongoing work being performed, there's no, so.
Sounds good.
So I would just say to make your approval contingent upon legal negotiating the proposed revisions.
Okay, do we have a motion to enter into the service agreement with TSW Planning Service of Tulsa, Oklahoma, with the consideration of our attorney notes being incorporated into the agreement?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion by Brenda with the amendment, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Howard, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed as amended. Item number 15, approval of service agreement for zoning code legal service and representation with Eller and Dietrich not to exceed $25,000. We have a copy of that in the mail. Anybody, Liz, have you reviewed that?
I have.
Adam, you wanna speak to that? Yep, I think we're
No,
good.
Do you want me to explain what it is first?
Yes.
Please.
Okay, so Eller and Dietrich, they are a legal firm that works with TSW. We're into like a little bit of a unique situation here in Hochatown where, you know, you call all these legal entities and you ask them, hey, you know, how do we apply a zoning regulation to a specific parcel in town? Like there's not any zoning regs here in Hochatown. And a lot of answers across the board is, well, I don't know, we're gonna have to look into that. Well, Eller and Dietrich has experience in that. And again, this is a cost to not exceed $25,000. This is not gonna be a hard cost. I think we're gonna come in under that. I actually just recently learned from talking with some of my other mentors in city management of some other processes that we can implement that we can really minimize the amount of legal services that are required from them. So I think we're gonna come in under that 25,000 with them as well. But again, these are the legal services to apply the zoning regulation that we're creating as a community to specific parcels. What is the legal process for that to happen? So that's what these services are for, so Liz will talk about their agreement.
I've reviewed the engagement, I have no concerns with it, I like that it has a cap, so you guys know you're not gonna go over that amount. They'll bill hourly, much like my firm does, but you'll know you're not gonna go over that pre-budgeted amount, so.
I would appreciate that.
Gives you expectations on budgeting.
Trying to keep his checkbook.
That's right, okay. Do we have a motion to approve the service agreement for zoning code for legal services with Eller and Dietrich, not to exceed $25,000?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Brenda, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Todd, may we have a roll call vote?
Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 16, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve resolution number 2024-06 to establish the Hochatown Police Department. Discussion.
You guys already have your, police department approved in your ordinances, and you've already done all the cleat stuff that Adam's been working his buns off for that. The way we drafted the ordinances, since we didn't have a police department in that, at the time, said may establish, and so this resolution is just the cherry on the top of you guys formally establishing the police department. All the background work's already in place, and then we'll start hiring chief and all those sorts of things. This is just the little legal blessing.
Is the FBI gonna show up as we put the cherry on top of this?
Well,
Okay, that's right, okay, do we have a motion to approve the resolution number 2024-06 to establish the Hochatown Police Department?
Before I make that motion, which
More
I will,
discussion?
I wanna thank Adam for all of his hard work and dedication that he's
Yeah.
done. Very much so. I make a motion to establish the Hochatown Police Department.
Okay, motion made by Howard, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Chad's gonna second. Okay, then we have a roll call vote.
Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, motion passed to establish the police department. We get 43 phone calls for police chief now.
Yeah.
Agenda item number 17, discussion only on the status of obtaining road easements necessary to engage in repairs. Have we kind of covered this? It's just a
17's already
discussion.
addressed.
We're just,
Yeah,
you
it's everything
know,
I said earlier.
we do a lot of work on roads.
I got it.
Just, yeah.
But I don't know if it should be in under this or if we should move it to stuff unforeseen at the end. But it's a specific spot on a specific road that is a safety
Let's
hazard.
leave it here.
Can you just discuss it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
I don't know if any of y'all seen social media this weekend, but there was kind of an uproar over a specific spot. I've noticed the spot before, but it has gotten significantly worse since the rain. It is a dangerous spot, and I think in our past meetings, we allocated $10,000 for specific safety concerns. I'm asking that we use some of those funds right now to go fix that particular spot. And it won't be a long-term fix, but it will be, like we did at the bridge.
Gravel and ditch.
Gravel, fill it, that way a car can actually not flip going that. The spot is, Pine Hill Trail. Is it Pine Hill Trail, I believe is what it's called? Right off of Blue Potted Trail.
Anyway.
It's Pine Hill
I went and
Trail,
looked at
I'm pretty
it.
sure, yeah.
After you called me, I went and looked at it. I witnessed 4 cars going across it, slow crawl. Some of those potholes are nearly 18 inches deep. There was a Jeep that almost bottomed out. It's, there again, excuse my language, piss poor engineering, no design work, no culverts, no drainage. But that's something this town's gonna address. But I know we don't have, permission from landowners around it, but it is a safety hazard. I think we take the bullet, bite the bullet, go spend whatever it takes to get some white rock, something in there. Decide what we're gonna put in there for a temporary fix. I don't think anybody is gonna fuss about it.
Yeah,
You know me, I wanna lay materials, so it's
from a
gonna be
legal
all legal.
perspective, you just have to understand that somebody could challenge it. If you guys are comfortable with the fact that probably nobody's gonna do that because they're more concerned with it getting fixed, you can do that. I just want you to understand that I can't cover you from a legal perspective in making that repair. I think you'll probably have people with pom-poms on the side of the road cheering for you. But just know, I know there's a lot of eyes on everything we do. Somebody could try to say something. I think it's probably the right thing to do, but legally, I don't have the documentation necessary.
I don't think it would be that hard, maybe 2 or 3 property owners there, we could look it up real quick, contact or make a phone call or find out who the 2 owners.
Draft it and get the
If
agreement
it's
signed.
just one little piece of road, if you can figure out who owns, if it's on
Exactly.
one half of it, cause how those private
Pull up
neighborhoods
lines.
or roads, it's right down to the middle.
That's a problem.
So if it's on one side of it, if you can figure
There's
out
probably-
that owner on that side, I
One
just
side
need
of it's got
something
2
that,
cabins or 3 cabins, the other side is empty forest,
yeah.
so, or undeveloped.
Whoever's
I'll put
cabin
it
it's
that way.
right in front of, if you can get them
Yeah.
to say, that's your person that I would like something
You wanna
from.
get together and
Yeah, we should be able to find it.
Cause if you can do that, then I'm all for
Hey,
it.
me and Todd will get together and
Yeah.
we'll find out who it is.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll get something.
We're gonna
signed.
leave that for discussion and move on.
Even if
Okay.
it's just.
Okay, alright. Item number 18, discussion, consideration, and possible action, approval, rejection.
So just give it a stamp, so that it matches the official seal, and we can add something under the stamp that says town clerk or whatever it is that you put on there. Is that doable?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I can change the art in any way you want it changed.
I would say have her stamp match what we've.
And there again,
Yeah,
for the town to take ownership of this, and Skip has agreed, hey, he's agreed to sign whatever we need for us to physically own this and all copyrights to it. Right now, we don't have that agreement with Skip,
Okay.
and he's ready to sign.
okay,
So,
I can put that
if we
together.
can get that done, just an official piece of paper.
Yeah.
That way it's all legal and above board.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve ordinance number 11 regarding the town seal?
Make a motion to, accept the town seal, with the corrected changes, that we change our clerk's stamp to match our logo. And now that logo becomes the official town seal.
Amended to update the clerk's stamp. Okay, we have a
Order a
motion.
new stamp.
That's
Thank
amended,
clerk.
okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Brenda, and we have a roll call vote,
Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
yes?
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed, thank you, Skip.
You're-
Item number 19, discussion, consideration, and possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, and or postponement to adopt the emergency clause of ordinance number 11, an ordinance of the mayor, board of trustees of the town of Hochatown, Oklahoma, amending the code of ordinances Title I administration, adding chapter 11 town seal to provide for the adoption of the town seal and use of the town seal, providing for severability, providing for repealer, and declaring an emergency, as amended to also include the clerk's stamp. Do we have any more discussion on that?
That's just the emergency clause that allows me to get it published and it to go into effect, so nothing, it's just a
Okay.
legal nonsense.
Do we have a motion?
I'll motion to approve the emergency clause.
Okay, Brenda has a motion to approve, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Chad, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters.
Yes.
Okay, emergency clause passed. Item number 20, discussion, consideration, possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, and or postponement to create a government relations committee. Discussion, we got a lot of cat herding going on. Sometimes we have emergency things that kind of come up last minute. I think we would find ourselves in a pickle if we're trying to have a quorum meeting or to avoid a quorum meeting. We've got a lot of, we've got our finance committee where we've got 2 people on every committee to say, you guys do it, you bring us what you want us to approve. Do we wanna have a government relations committee?
I think we should.
I think we should at some point. I just don't know when we put that together.
We can keep mulling it over for the summer. We probably need to have
Yeah.
something in place for fall.
My
Liz?
thought would be if you guys are going to potentially bring on a consultant with respect to that they maybe help you determine the best way to, cause that's when I talked to, the PR firm or the, whatever their name is, CMA strategies the other day, one thing I told them I thought we would need help on is our process
With the
internally for how we manage these incoming, who makes the decisions, how quickly, because sometimes these are quick responses to issues, so I might wait, my advice might be to wait and let them give you some guidance on how they have handled that in other situations, so they can say, yeah, do a committee, or yeah, set up this process, sort of a thing, might be my only suggestion.
I would say by September is when we need to be ready. I mean, it's July, but that gives us some time to be thinking about it. But I wanna know if everybody's in favor of doing it, because we can't have 5 people doing it.
Yeah.
Any more discussion on that? I think we'll get a lot of clarity later on. Okay, item number 21, discussion
So you
consideration.
guys, do you wanna vote to take no action on 20 then?
Yeah, take no action.
I make a motion, we take no action on item number 20.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll say,
May we have a roll call vote to take no action?
Roll call vote, Howard Haggard,
yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters.
Yes.
Okay, take no action. Couple more months of breathing room. Okay, item number 21, discussion, consideration, and possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, and or postponement of, on appointing members to the Government Relations Committee. I think we just take no action. You think?
Make
Okay.
a motion to take no action on 21.
Okay, Howard makes a motion to take no action, Chad has seconded it, roll call vote please.
Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters.
Yes.
You may see this on the agenda for next month too, until we decide what we wanna do, okay? Item number 22, discussion, consideration, and possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, or postponement to improve engaging CMA strategies for public relations and legislative initiatives for a 1-year contract of $36,000. Any discussion?
FYI, this is not the contract, this is just a proposal. I asked that he, at a minimum, get a proposal in front of us so that you guys could, discuss if you want to move forward with them proposing actual contract.
Which one is that on?
This is
22,
under
it's down at the
number
bottom.
22 CMA.
22.
Is it down at the bottom?
I spoke with Pat earlier this week, and they are primarily a lobbying firm, so they would be who you would coordinate with monitoring legislative issues that impact the town at a state and federal level, and then also helping navigate or push for issues that you want in front of the legislature that impact the town. That would be their,
And he only covers state issues.
yes, okay.
Yeah, he only cover for state for us.
They typically charge about $60,000, but they see this as kind of almost a non-profity type of endeavor for them. So how they have proposed on the engagement on the second page is for the first year, they would do $36,000. It's just a year engagement, but with the option to renew. If you renew it, they wanted to go ahead and disclose, they would propose $48,000 for the second year, and then all subsequent years would be up to the full 60. So that's,
Standard
obviously you're
rates.
not, if you decide you don't wanna pay 48 the second year, you just don't renew the contract. But if you stay with it, they just wanted to have full disclosure that they would intend to move you up towards their normal amounts, but to give you guys a pretty significant discount in years 1 and 2.
I mean, what do you think, I mean, we know the initial, benefits that you could have with a company such as this CMA strategies. Are we vetting anybody else, or is this it?
I've talked to quite a few people, and they all have their pluses and minuses. Some of the ones that, they're like, this is really the right one, but they also want to sell the water in our district. We may not wanna get rid of that, So of all the ones we talked to, the ones that came most highly recommended that matched the influence that we need for our town, because it's 4 hours for any one of us to drive to Oklahoma City with no notice. And these guys are there every single day of the session.
I think they listed some of their clients on that first page to give you an idea of who else they're up there advocating on behalf of.
And they've done a lot of municipal efforts too in the bottom, if you
Yeah.
read that, it's also needed.
And they only represent what we ask them to represent. They don't make those decisions for us. They ask us what position we wanna take, and, they'll watch all the bills, very standard procedure. We will either that we want to support that bill, we want to oppose that bill or simply remain neutral because we don't have an opinion. But any bills that come up that have
Would
to
it
do with
be-
things that we're issuing.
Would it be possible either, to have them come down and talk about the proposal, or us, maybe Diane and Adam go up and visit with them?
Typically so just from personal experience on boards I've served on, at the outset of the legislative session, or as bills get formed and actually filled in, a lot of times they're shell bills, they'll say, we've reviewed all the bills and here's the list of 25 that we think might potentially have an impact on you as a municipality. They'll explain each one of those and then you guys will vote to approve, or not approve, to publicly support, remain neutral, or publicly oppose. That's how it's worked. I did a lot of domestic violence work for a while, and there's always bills up there, so we would decide lots of times for political reasons, we're gonna stay neutral, even though we're fine if it passes, we're fine if it doesn't, because we don't wanna offend some other mutual party that it might benefit. So that's how it's worked for me when I've worked with those lobbyists, and I would expect CMA Strategies is very well known.
Okay,
That's how they would handle themselves, is compile the information, bring it to you guys to approve. But that's one of the things I asked them to do, that if they're engaged, that they would detail very specifically their process for you all making decisions on approvals and, public opinions on.
And once things go on a bill launch, anytime that any legislative action, when there's like an amendment to, a floor amendment to an engrossed Senate bill, they're able to watch those things for us and they'll get a tickler on their bill watch when it's coming up. And so we can be aware of
So
those
these
things.
guys are basically just eyes for us, but they're not lobbying or nothing, they're just there looking for us, right?
Well,
They
they
would
lobby,
if we
absolutely.
told them to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we would have to affirmatively vote, hey, we want to publicly support some bill that might approve infrastructure money that would impact towns with under 500.
Like the
Whatever.
local
Yeah.
grocery sales
But
tax.
you as a group of trustees would have to majority approve the public support and lobbying on behalf of any specific bill. So then they'd be at the Capitol saying, hey, I represent Hochatown, Senator so-and-so, and we would like you to support this bill, and here's all the reasons why. So they would actually.
They don't
lobby.
determine what we support or oppose. We determine that and they carry it out for us in conjunction with us. Lots of times you go with that person to do these things. They are not a social media firm.
So the 36,000 gets us the watchdog and the lobbying.
Yep.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
How often and what kind of report do we get from these people?
Sometimes it's weekly, sometimes it's daily, depending on how many bills are coming through. Sometimes it's hourly.
They're going to you, the mayor, going to Adam, where do they go?
Yeah, that's what we'll have to work through
Through the
is,
committee.
because, again, when bills are first assigned, there's nothing going on yet until they start going to committees. But once they go to committees, it's gonna be fast and furious, and then it kinda dies down, and then it jumps back up when it goes to the full House or the full Senate. It's very liquid.
So did I understand that we're approving to engage with these folks
Yes.
and you're going to get a contract?
You would be approving the proposal.
Okay.
And then if you approve the proposal, they'll prepare a contract that would put back in front of you for final approval.
Okay.
But this is, obviously, I don't want them to go to the expense of all of that if we're not ready to move forward with this. But yeah, and I think you've got a little bit of time, because of when the legislative session starts, but you don't wanna be behind the 8 ball.
Any more discussion on this?
Has Adam have you done any homework to find out what cities in, the state either have hired CMA or a similar company? Do we
I haven't
know of
spoken
aerospace
with any.
companies or do-
Yeah, I haven't spoken with any municipalities that have operated with CMA before. I've spoke with some of my legislative contacts at the Capitol, and everyone generally has positive things to say about CMA.
I just wanna make sure that our money is
Yeah, I
being
mean,
spent and, we're not just, we've talked about lobbyists, protecting our best interest and, when we have these, these type of, improvements in the community such as this highway project has been massively, we've had a lot of split, on the decision, and so I think that having a lobbyist is good to be able to protect our best interests as a town. So I just wanna make sure that we feel like, long term, that CMA is gonna be working for us, and not, and if they're gonna be working, we should pay them, but if they're not working, we shouldn't be paying them.
Right.
And so I don't like paying companies that, but you pay them if you use them.
Right.
And if you don't use them, you're still paying them. And so I wanna make sure that, if we're paying them, then they're working, that's great. And it sounds like this potential contract, you're paying them, as they work, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
They
it's
do
an
it by the
annual
session.
contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They do
you
it by
be
the
paying
session.
them.
Session.
Yeah.
And they can provide reports on everything.
Yeah, that's what I said, it's a
I
base
just want you,
number.
Adam, kind of, if you really feel long-term, and of course, we can facilitate in making that decision, we wanna make sure that, this company is in our best interest long-term, if we feel like it's a good move. And I know we feel like they are, but it's something I wanna see it collectively, if other towns are instituting, these type of companies to help them.
Yes, sir.
And that's kind of what I want to find out.
So again, all my contacts have said positive things about them, and those are all legislative contacts. They're not
Most of them
municipal,
are not.
from a municipal background, but I can call around and check with some other city managers, some other cities and towns,
To see if they've had
and
any,
see if anyone's used them before in the past.
or a
but-
company similar.
Yeah, it's.
No, you're good.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I was just gonna say, it's a little bit of a rare thing for a city to have a lobbyist, so only, obviously we have a high tourism demand. We are a golden star in this state, right? So we're in a very unique situation here. Cities with higher profiles, typically have lobbyists, and I would consider us, to have interests that do need to be protected at that level.
I agree.
Again, so I can call around and check with some other cities and see if there's anything that comes up.
So are they a larger company that employs several people, or is it this
No,
pack
it's
or?
just, no, there's a couple of people
Couple
involved.
There's,
That's-
yeah,
that's
that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
typical for
And in
lobbyists in Oklahoma.
and in fact, if we,
Well, and, make sure they represent us ethically and
Yeah.
those are all the vetting things that
Those
I
are all
did.
that you've already done.
Yes, that's what I've already done
So
on
you
that.
had those.
Oh, yes, I've done a lot of homework on this work.
What I might suggest, since this isn't the formal contract in front of us, is that you guys, either make a motion to move forward with review of a potential contract, so you're not making a motion to approve actually formally engaging them without seeing the contract, or you can just table it and we can present an actual contract next month, and I can ask them in the contract to say monthly reports, these are all the things these are all our deliverables that we're agreeing to provide you, and then that gives Adam some time to maybe make some phone calls to some other municipalities that have used them. So I think you can do it either way, motion to move forward with presentation of contract on this issue, or you can just table it and we can put the contract on the agenda next month, not table it, but take no action and put a contract on the agenda next month.
For what it's worth, all my contacts have said that CMA Strategies here conducts themselves very well at the Capitol. They're held in high regard. They're respectful, and they have very strong relationships across the board.
Okay.
I would make
They're
a
not-
motion
they
that we
don't
go ahead
Burn
and
bridges.
engage
I agree.
With
Like I said, we've already
CMA
done a lot of homework on this.
and,
Get that, go ahead and
subject to the
get that,
presentation of a contract to
Yeah.
be.
go ahead and get the proposal.
Yep.
Why don't we go ahead and just get the proposal, and that'll get Adam.
Or get the actual
And then
contract.
we can get on a
Yes.
call with them as
Yeah.
well, cause it sounds like you wanna get some interaction in with them, and I think
Oh,
that would be really great.
Just gun shy on all these companies, and we've been through a lot already, so I like to.
Yeah. Yeah, we can grab Howard and jump on that call as well, so.
All right, do we have a motion to approve engaging CMA Strategies for, when we say public relations, I wanna go ahead and define that, for public relations and legislative initiatives for a one-year contract. Public relations is in relation to legislators and agencies, Department of Commerce, Department of Tourism, not public relations in the sense of, how many social media posts do they have? They don't do social media.
I would be careful with approving it with that exact language, because what I don't wanna do is look like we've entered into a contract by making that approval. So I think what we might want to modify that motion would be to approve moving forward with negotiation of a contract.
I'm good with
with CMA strategies in that amount. Sorry to be technical.
No.
Can we make
That's
it
good.
pending upon legal review to, approve?
Well, but I don't wanna just do that because there may be some non-legal reason that somebody says, I don't wanna approve this contract. So I think we just say, make a motion to approve, moving forward with preparation and
Okay.
of contract.
Yeah, just to create additional
yeah.
for you.
We're good with that
I
language?
think that's one.
Okay,
yes.
so
That's
do we have a
That's
motion to approve engaging with CMA strategies for,
Sorry, motion, I'll say it and we'll let Carissa take it down. Are you ready? Ready. Motion to approve moving forward with preparation of contract to potentially
Yes.
engage CMA strategies in the amount of $36,000. I know.
thank you, Liz. Okay, do we have a motion to approve based on the amended language?
We had a motion, yes, I mean, that was my motion.
Yes, yeah, so,
That was my motion, what she said.
yeah, okay. So Brenda has made a motion to approve the engagement based on the amended language that Liz has given us. Do we have a second for that?
Yeah, I would say that.
Okay, we have a second by Todd. May we have a roll call vote, please, Madam Secretary of the Day?
Yes.
Clerk.
Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters.
Yes.
All right, motion passed as amended. Item number 23, discussion, consideration, possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, or postponement to support, oppose, or refrain from taking a position on Representative Eddie Dempsey's legislative request regarding Hochatown 259 interim study. Any discussion?
Yes.
You can start, Chad.
So, of course, I'm not gonna support an interim study unless I have the study where I can see exactly what potentially this interim study is going to entail. And so, you know, there needs to be some parameters of course, what we would approve and what we would potentially support. But that interim study, I wanna make sure it's not biased. I wanna make sure that it is in our best interest of what we currently support. And so, I think we've got to, and I don't know if there's a way to get our hands on this potentially, of this, of who they potentially can utilize or what this objective is on this interim study. Is there any language on that already, or do we have any of that? Can we get that?
All that's available right now is the request for the
Yeah, I
interim
just-
study, so you may wanna remain neutral until there's more information out
Absolutely.
there about it.
I think so.
I'm ready to oppose it because there is no more information on it. If there becomes a Senate study on it, well, then that would be different, but at this point, they're running through, again, that's why you sometimes want a lobbyist
And-
year
and
round and not just during session, because they're doing summer stuff, they'll be doing shell builds in the fall.
And I'll say this too, just to follow up. You know, an interim study could be a wonderful thing if it's done correctly. I mean, I just got off the phone with Anthony at ODOT, Kelly, and so, I mean, he has no issues with there being a potential interim study if it's going to be something that we want and we desire. And they would support that. ODOT would provide data of, you know, whatever they would need to. However, what is that interim study's objective? And that's what I would wanna know.
Because no one was contacted.
Nobody contacted the town regarding an interim study
Yes.
regarding the town.
Yeah, I mean, our legislative
Well,
representatives
maybe-
were not contacting us, asking us.
Nobody contacted
Maybe the task is for us to remain neutral or
Neutral.
whatever position you take, but to have Adam engage with,
Yes,
Dempsey's office to get more information and report back so that you guys can take an official position.
sure, cause I mean, it would be nice just to have more information on it before we make a stand.
I'm in support of proposing something that's already been put out there as an interim study. Once the interim study is completed, then if we want to not take a position, oppose it, or approve it, but to remain neutral is almost a yes, but to remain neutral on something that we weren't consulted on, I'm not in favor of that.
So as much as we know, it just says an interim study on Highway 259.
In Hochatown.
The explanatory comments specifically say evaluating the various options available for construction concerning the needed highway for Hochatown. That's the exact words.
No input from the town.
No input from the town.
Well, it doesn't
That's
say
what
that,
I-
but,
Well, I mean, I'm just.
yeah.
I would, I'm not gonna sit here and suggest the town should do something without getting more details on the study. I think we all know what is happening here. I mean, it's, politics are being played about, the 5 versus 3. I believe that we can say that the reason this town was not included in this interim study is because any attempts to speak to the town or ODOT about an interim study has been met with roadblocks. It's been met with, there's been no, we'll work with you. None of that has happened. I don't believe that this is out of the dark. I don't believe it's a surprise. I think it's something that's been going on, regardless of my opinion on the 3 or the 5 lane. Again, I'm not suggesting the city come out and support something that we don't know all the details of, but I'm also suggesting the city not oppose something that we don't know the details of. I think at this point we should remain neutral until we can get maybe the facts, like Chad said, what the actual study is going to consist of, who's going to do the study, those type of things. But again, I don't think as a town we should come out and oppose this. I think all the information we can get, the better for us to make an informed decision on what we do as far as what happens out here. That's where I sit on this. That's my 2 cents.
And I agree, and I think that Adam needs to follow up with Eddie Dempsey's office and find out their position on this, because Eddie should have came to us. He should have came to all of us and then spoke to us, and he needs to do that if he wants us to support it. If he doesn't want us to support it, then you take this type of action. And to me, it could be a great study, but we need more details. And, we need to know exactly what, like Todd said, I just wanna know more details about it, and I wanna know their position. Deep down, I think I do. I think it's just it's a avenue that we have a percentage of the population wants to pursue, interest in this bypass. And so we have to get all the facts on the table of this interim study, and it could be beneficial. It absolutely could be, but it also could be a deterrent of what we're doing right now. This 5 lane is moving forward. I mean, it's in motion. Nothing's gonna stop it unless the governor stops it.
We can stop it as a town.
Or we can stop it as a town. That's the 2 options. And so I think that we just wanna make sure that this interim study is healthy. I think that's the
Well, but I wanna
biggest
say, that's not how interim studies work. You don't say, oh, now tell me what's gonna be in the study. That's why it's called an interim study. This will go to the committee. This is specifically for 259, it's what it says in there, that's all the information we have. It has nothing to do with alternative bypass options.
Well, it may have, I wanna know if it's gonna be an economic impact study. Is it gonna include, an economic impact study? Is it gonna
You don't
include?
get that information.
Yeah, and how do you support an interim study that you don't get the information?
And that's what I'm saying, I can't support an interim study
That's tough.
without the information that we need for that. We should have been consulted in the design of what that interim study looks like, which committee it's going to. Is it going to transportation? Is it going to tourism? Is it going to economic development? That hasn't been assigned yet. And so for the town, in my opinion, to say we're gonna remain neutral on it, when they decide whether to hear that on the Senate side, we say, well, the town's neutral, I think we'll go ahead and do it. I'm not gonna support an interim study when we're not consulted on, when it has to do with our town.
No, they haven't.
No.
They just have the letters last
Yeah,
week.
it just got received.
So, and just for my clarification, the purpose of an interim study is to take a topic and then present or gather more information about that topic, then to come to a conclusion that would then be presented to the legislature when
Yes.
in their next session.
Yeah, but it doesn't enact any law, it
Right,
doesn't take
no.
any official positions, it's just an investigation or a study.
Study.
Yeah,
Information.
And it's
so
listed.
it's not like it results in some sort of legal action depending on what the conclusion of it is. Now, they may rely on it to support some sort of legislation they put forward next year,
Right.
Absolutely.
but it's
that's what
not a
it
piece
is.
of legislation.
Right.
But, Speaker of the House has to approve it, and that hasn't been
guess my question would be, what would be the negative of this interim study getting done?
Because once again, the town is not being consulted on it.
I mean, I get the legit, like, why that, but what is the negative? Say, because they can do this interim study whether we support it or not, they can get it done. So let's say we don't support it and this interim study gets done. What are the negative side? What's the negative part of that?
That the town is not included on the study that is directly related to the town of Hochatown.
I don't see that as a direct negative. What I'm asking is, what is the negative consequences? Not the negative part of it.
What
like,
I
why it's
see,
a
what
bad
I see
thing.
the negative consequences.
What are the
Because
negative?
you're asking selected legislators to listen to Eddie Dempsey saying, I think the mayor has an axe to grind, and I quote, because he doesn't want to do the 5-lane. And the town has spoken, the residents have spoken, there were many months, there were many opportunities
Amen.
for written comment, there were public hearings. We went over this for months, the decision has been made, and when the people that didn't get the answer they liked, they're like, let's do it, let's revote, let's do it all again. Well, that's not the process.
Can we honestly sit here as a board and say over half of our residents support a 5-lane?
I think we
Look at the
can.
numbers, look at the numbers.
Because there's
We're
been
gonna
numbers
ask
of
that
studies,
again.
there's been.
I mean,
numbers
what
of-
numbers are we looking at?
The
What
ones
numbers?
that were submitted, officially
Okay.
submitted,
And have you seen those?
absolutely we have.
You've
They're
seen
online.
all right, with ODOT.
Yes.
So have you seen the actual, what was turned in? What was actually submitted to ODOT? There's maybe 5 that support a 5-lane. There wasn't very many turned in, and maybe 5 of them actually say, we want a 5-lane.
So from which meeting are you saying that we
Yeah.
have comments?
From what, if you contact ODOT and got a request for information act and ask them to send you all the stuff they received, comments, brochures and everything from those meetings that they held, there's this 80% people approve the 5-lane, it's not there, it's not in that.
But it's not whether the citizens supported it or not. I'm glad that ODOT let people speak their mind. Okay, there was only 5 things sent in. But
No,
ODOT has
that's
spent
speculative,
thousands
there
of
was more
dollars.
than that.
Yeah.
There was more sitting in, but
Okay.
I promise you, the numbers ain't, it's in the single digits that say we want a 5-lane.
Wrong.
You know, it's,
Well,
Okay,
I think
well,
that issue-
hang on. Order.
Yeah, I think the issue that is limited to here today, for purposes of keeping the meeting moving forward, is someone needs to make a motion. Do you oppose, support, or want to remain neutral on the interim study? I think your bigger issues of the 259 are not really what's at issue on this agenda item. I think you need to limit it to someone making a motion to support, remain neutral for now, because you can always take it back up once the interim study is approved and you know more information about it, and support or reject it at that point. But I think somebody just needs to make a motion and you need to take a vote on the limited issue that's before.
Once the interim
today.
study is approved, then that goes forward. They're not gonna wait for the town to come back and decide if they want to support it or not.
and the
That
interim
has already
study,
been, that decision has already been made for the summer.
interim study's gonna move forward,
That's
whether we
what's-
support it or not.
Yeah,
No,
I
no,
don't think your
it may
vote here
not.
today impacts it, it just makes a public statement,
Yeah.
Right.
is all that it does. So that's the political ramifications of the decision that you make are, if we remain neutral, might we be able to be involved in it? Possibly. If we vote to be opposed to it, maybe they want you to be involved and present your opposing opinion. Those are the considerations that each of you have to make with respect to the position that you take, is how is that going to impact your ability to be involved in it, because I can guarantee it's gonna move forward regardless of what you vote
Yes.
today.
Yeah.
So just consider that aspect of it, would be all I would say.
So if we have opposing positions on it, then.
Somebody makes the first motion, and if you don't get a majority, then you make a second motion.
I think if you want the message to the representative who doesn't just talk to us, then you can support it or remain neutral. If you want the representative and the legislators to receive the message that Hochatown does want to be included when there's legislation being considered related to our town, then we need to let them know that we oppose this.
Well, I'll make a motion that we refrain from taking a position on it at this point, and until Adam follows up with Eddie Dempsey's office and, see if he can get more details on their, position, and, we can make a decision to support it or oppose it at at that point. But at least I feel like we're making a good faith effort as a town to reach out, even though we weren't reached out to. But I feel like, you know, I don't, like Todd said, I'm not totally 100% against a interim study if it's for the benefit of our area. If it's gonna be something that I feel like could be beneficial long term, and but I would want more details, and if they can't give it to us, then we can make a decision.
Well, you won't be given those details, so I don't know when you want to actually finally send the message to.
I mean, do you
Eddie
believe,
Dempsey.
Liz, that we're not gonna get any more detail than what we have right now?
You can't force anybody to, but that's the legislative's, you know, it would be Adam making an appointment with their office and attempting to do that. I'd be happy to go with him, help set that
Okay.
up, whatever we need to do, but I think there's a motion on the table, so you either need to have a second, take a vote, and if that doesn't pass, you can have a second motion made.
Chad has made a motion to refrain from taking a position on Representative Debbie Dempsey's request for an interim study. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Chad, we have a second by Howard. May we have a roll call vote to refrain from taking the action on Eddie Dempsey's request for an interim study? Howard Haggard?
Just one second.
Yeah.
So this motion to refrain from taking action is temporary pending the town administrators
Yes.
gathering more information?
Yes. Let's follow
So you
that.
would remain neutral, and then if somebody wants to put it back on a further agenda to take a different position, you just put it on a new agenda if you want to. If
We
Adam
may not
gathers
have
more
time for
information.
that.
But so we can't add to.
No, you could, I mean, that's basically what you're doing. If you remain neutral, you can put this back on, call a special meeting, put it back
And
on.
in the meanwhile,
after
we
he
can
reports back.
pursue.
In the meantime, they can also go ahead and approve the request for an interim study because nobody, opposed it. That's the risk you're taking.
Were you wanting to add something to his motion, or?
No, I was just asking the question if his motion could say that pending.
Yeah.
So,
They can take action tomorrow morning.
They could take action on it tomorrow whether we approve or
Right.
whether we don't. So,
I don't think your opposition is going to stop the
Right.
study based on my observations of the legislature. I think it makes a public opinion, but I don't think it'll.
That's what I said,
I
it
don't
makes,
think
it
it'll
makes a
stop it.
statement that the town should have a voice in business related to our town.
but I would love to see if Dempsey's office will provide us with some more detail, even if we gotta set up a meeting. I really would. I would like to.
I think we should set up a
Todd
meeting.
agrees, and I feel like I would like to know exactly whether I support it or not. I wanna know where they stand on it, and we'll see if they come forth with more information. If they don't, then we know, and then we can expedite an opposition.
Do you have a deadline on how long you're gonna allow him to give you?
Well, I think we already have a motion and a second on the table, we need to take a vote on that, and if it doesn't pass, then we can take an amended vote, but you've got a motion and a second, so I think you need to.
Okay, we have a motion by Chad to refrain from taking a position with the amendment that, Adam is going to try to get more detail as to what the title of this interim study would say.
Yes.
Alright,
Roll call vote, Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
no,
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters,
no,
motion carried. You know, we're trying to get a deadline to get Eddie to give you an answer? Good luck. Okay, item number
It's not
20.
official.
Yeah. Discussion only regarding the adoption of the Code of Ethics Municipal Policy, item number 24.
So this is discussion only, I've provided you guys with just a very rough draft of proposed ethics policy. I had actually given this to Adam, I think maybe on his very first meeting here. It's something very commonly adopted in towns that kind of helps explain everybody's various roles, including employees as well as officers based on your town form of government. Who speaks for the town, how things get approved, how you're expected to handle meetings, et cetera, et cetera. Again, this is just for you guys to review today, and if you've got questions on it or suggestions of other things that should be added, I'd like for you guys to contact me individually on that. but I wanted to get it in front of you, so that you guys could start considering what are some of the things that you want to have govern the operations of both the employees as well as the trustees, on the board, and kind of have an explanation of the various rules. So take a look at that at your own time, and I don't intend to go through it with you guys today, but I would appreciate if you would read it and then call me with any questions and concerns, so we can try to get that finalized over the next couple meetings and pass that at a future meeting. Just wanted to get it introduced today. What do you say? And if you'll time out before you move to the next agenda item. Would you guys be opposed to bumping up the executive session now and then the rest of the items? I don't think executive session, just so I've got a kid with a band concert in Ardmore at 8:30 that I'm gonna try to get back on the road to. So, yeah, he's been at the band camp for an entire month and I haven't seen him, and I'd like to watch him perform tonight. So that's the last item that I need to be involved in, if you guys don't mind, just bumping that up real quick. For me.
Maybe you can scream.
That's a personal thing.
Okay, item number 3, discussion, consideration, and possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement to enter into the executive session for the purpose of, to discuss the confidential communications between the town and the town's attorneys concerning a pending investigation, claim or action which the town, with the advice of the town's attorneys, has determined that disclosure will seriously impair the ability of the town to process the claim or conduct the pending investigation, litigation, or proceeding to the public, or proceeding in the public interest in compliance with this duty of confidentiality under the provisions of 25 Oklahoma Statute 307B. 4, McCurt Memorial Medical Management, Inc., DBA, the McCurt Memorial Hospital, and others versus Town of Hochatown, CJ-2023-74, pending in District Court of McCurtain County, State of Oklahoma. And B, to discuss the employment and/or promotion of Krista Dirksen pursuant to Title 25 of Oklahoma Statute 307, Section B, Item 1. Any discussion? Do we have a motion to enter into executive session?
Make that motion.
We have a motion by Howard to enter into executive session.
We're gonna go to the library, so you guys can just kind of stay in here if you
Okay.
like.
Do we have a second to enter into executive session?
I'll second.
We have a second by Brenda. May we have a roll call vote, please? Howard Hager?
Yes.
Diane Jordan.
Yes.
Todd McDaniel.
Yes.
Chad Sargent is absent for right now. Brenda Walters?
Yes.
Motion carried. We're going into executive session.
Thank you for accommodating me.
Okay, we're gonna reconvene into open session. We are going to take,
5 after 5.
where are we at here?
Number 30.
Number 30, okay.
31.
Yep, okay, no action on 31. We're just reconvening. The executive session minutes for the Board of Trustees. Where's our, new hire section here? I can't find it. Oh, item B, okay. Okay, the executive session minutes from the Board of Trustees. You ready, Krista?
Ready.
Okay, there was no action taken on item A regarding the, legal issue of, I'll just read it for everybody again. McCurt Memorial Medical Management, Inc., DBA, McCurt Memorial Hospital, and others versus the Town of Hochatown, pending in District Court. We took no action on that. On item number B, to discuss the employment and/or promotion of Krista Dirksen, pursuant to Title 25 of Oklahoma Statutes, Section 307B1. We voted to promote Krista to full-time, pending a satisfactory background check, credit check, and drug screening, and subject to all regular and normal town benefits for employees to be determined.
Don't you have to do that in open session? Don't you have to do that in open session?
We are in open session.
Don't you
No,
have
you're
to take
giving
the
the
vote?
minutes at the,
Oh, that was the minutes.
under the minutes. And then the next is.
So the motion is,
Gotcha.
Gotcha, yep. Okay, so the motion is to promote Carissa Dirksen pursuant to Title 25 of Oklahoma Statute, Section 307B1, pending a successful background check, credit check, drug screening, and she would receive the regular town benefits to be determined.
So you moved from your minutes to item 31, is that what you're doing?
We reconvened, we've already done, we reconvened.
We're on number 32.
I just had to go
I'm
back
sorry.
and read item B.
Okay.
So that was we did the minutes,
Okay,
we took no action, and then we decided on Carissa.
okay.
And so the action is to
Done.
approve the action of what we just said about Carissa.
Yes.
Well, we can't, as he said, hire somebody in an executive session,
Well,
so that falls.
The
under
language was,
33.
she said you voted, and that's why I said, no,
Oh.
you have to do that in open session. So you're gonna make the motion now, and you guys are good now.
Just as I said, now we're making the motion of what we
Okay.
just said, to hire Carissa, subject to all the things. Do we have a motion?
I make that motion.
Okay, Brenda makes a motion that we put her on full-time. Do we have a
I'll
second?
second.
Todd has a second. Okay, do we have a roll call vote, please?
Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hard work. Thank you. Okay, item number 34, new business, any matter not known or which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the time of the posting of the agenda.
We
Gotta go back.
We gotta go back.
Oh, I forgot.
Ain't done yet.
Yeah, she wanted out early and I
We
just
did
rolled
too.
on through.
We gotta go back
Okay.
to 24.
Yes, 24.
No, we
We
did
did
24.
24.
We gotta go
25.
25.
Okay, I was like, wow, we got through that. Okay, 25, discussion, consideration, possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, and or postponement to approve the appointment of Chris Chandler as a municipal prosecutor for the town of Hochatown. Any discussion? It's like one day a month, maybe?
That's correct. It's one day a month. The pay we established, I think it was $250 in that last ordinance for that one day. It's a full day. Some cities give that $250 an hour. This is, you just get one, it's a flat.
Whether there's one case of 25 drunks on Friday night.
Right.
Okay,
And I spoke with Chris a couple weeks ago. He's still interested in serving as our prosecutor.
I'm probably
That's
monthly
great.
now.
Where's he out of?
He's from here.
He's from here. He actually
but
lives in
he-
DeQueen.
Yeah, he lives in DeQueen, but he's duly licensed to practice in the state of Oklahoma, so he meets the requirements by state law.
Yeah, he's been an attorney for 20-something years. Smart guy.
Yes.
I make the motion to appoint Chris Chandler as municipal prosecutor.
Okay, we have a motion by Brenda. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Chad second. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters.
Yes.
Item number, motion passed. Chris Chandler is our prosecutor.
We have a judge and a lawyer.
Been painless. Okay. Item number 26, discussion, consideration, and possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, or postponement for the legislative request regarding the municipal lodging tax collection. I believe this goes back to the same issue of interim study. Am I correct here?
There was a second interim study
Yes.
proposed for,
Regarding how municipal lodging taxes are collected, again, the town has not consulted on that at all.
I would say the same as the last one, without knowing exactly what we're looking at a study. I mean, I agree, we do need something done about Airbnb and VRBO and those tax collections, and there needs to be some kind of study done,
That's right.
in order for us to be able to legislatively, enforce those entities to pay city taxes.
And in other states,
I think this is a
They
federal
are.
issue. I think it's absolutely a federal issue, and Oklahoma can lead the way.
yeah, for sure, because other states have done that.
Do
so
we have
you're
a
saying
motion?
Verbo and Airbnb are not collecting?
No.
Or appropriately remitting.
Yep. Appropriately remitting.
I use
And
Verbo and
refuse
Airbnb and we collect, and I remit.
But you're collecting it as a special fee, are you not?
No, it's collected as tax.
You have to.
But it's a other
Send a
tax.
check from Airbnb or Verbo.
It's It's not a
No.
lodging tax.
We collected and I paid them.
Yeah, see,
Yes.
that's the thing, yeah, that's the issue.
And so
But they'll
I
collect
guess
state
we-
and county, but not local.
You have to add the line item in for the fee yourself, and then you have to calculate it, then draw it out.
And they also pay it based on zip code and not municipality. I think it needs a lot of study.
And the biggest problem is their refusal to work with anybody. They just absolutely refuse to not do it, basically. So, the next logical step is legislative, try to make force them to do it.
I think this is an issue for the National Council of State Legislators, for all the states who get together and then take it on a national platform, because all the states have the same issue. Do we have a motion to possibly approve?
So would you like for me to, the action, I haven't heard an action yet or a motion yet, would you like for me to reach out to Representative Dempsey's office and gain some more information on that, or?
Yes, on both of them, for sure.
And
So
we'll just report back.
It isn't clear, this is another interim study by Eddie Dempsey.
Yes.
to
It's
like-
not
yes.
worded very well.
Okay.
It's not worded, but yes.
Okay.
Let's
That's what
say
it is.
interim, there was two, yes.
Yes, if you could reach out and see if they would be, willing to give us more detailed information.
Yes, sir.
So is our motion to take no action on this one right
Yes.
now? Okay,
I'll say.
okay, we have a motion by Chad to take no action, we have a second by Todd, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried, we'll work on that. Item number 27, discussion, consideration, and possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement to appropriate $2 million to the Hochatown 24-25 budget for capital outlay for the purpose to acquire and purchase property and/or properties for the expansion of, but not limited to, Hochatown Town Hall and administration offices. Discussion.
Well, we've gotta start
We're
looking
gonna
in the
outgrow
future.
our space.
We're out, yeah,
Quickly outgrowing.
we don't know how long we can sustain here or be allowed to be here. So I think that it's, important that we start the process.
And this doesn't buy property, it just approves an allocation of funds that are already available
Yes.
to consider purchasing property.
And we wanna make it clear too to the people, I think, and everyone needs to understand that, you know, our priorities as a municipality, have, to me, are paramount to, of course, what we wanna accomplish here in Hochatown. However, these are things that we've got to start considering, and the longer we put them off, They're gonna come back.
We have to have a police
continue to hire
station, we have to have a
people,
fire
police
department, we have to
department,
have
fire
municipal
department,
offices, we
without
have to have a
something that-
permanent
I just don't want
office.
anybody feeling like, oh, they're putting their municipal building in front of our roads. We're not doing that. The roads is moving in motion. Hands are tied right now legally, so people need to understand that and ask and be informed. And so, and they can be informed if they ask. And so I think that the process of what we're wanting to do here, I think it's gonna have to happen. We're in a temporary space and a limited space.
Any more discussion? Todd, you good?
Yeah.
Okay, do we have a motion to, approve appropriating $2 million to the budget for capital outlay purposes?
I'll make that motion.
Howard makes a motion to appropriate it to the budget. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Brenda seconds. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Howard Haggard,
Yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 28, discussion, consideration, and possible action, approval, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement to direct the town administrator to acquire a fair market appraisal on a 1.8 acre property located at 9628 North US Highway 259 in Hochatown, Oklahoma. I have some discussion with that. I'm not ready to do that because I think we should be identifying other properties and not just limit an appraisal to one single property at this point. I think we need to identify other properties that may be available for sale.
I think that property is potentially ideal for what our needs are, but I think what Diane's saying is there's nothing wrong with bidding other properties and looking into that. I don't think we're in a massive hurry to purchase anything now, but kinda like me and cheaper, and if things, if our economy and things improve over the course of the next year or two, which we're optimistically hoping that they will, things are gonna go up again, and so prices are gonna go up with that land. And so, I think that it's a good time to consider it, but yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with us considering another option for sure. But,
And this is not asking to buy it, this is nothing but giving fair market price on it.
exactly,
To compare that to the asking price.
yes,
And
exactly.
yes, I agree, there's other properties out there.
Appraisals are only
Yes.
good for 6 months. I'd like to see us have at least 3 to choose from, and then order all 3 appraisals at the same time. I think you order one now, you're not gonna get, apples and oranges
Now,
if we end up running out of time.
now the question is, do we have a optimistic, hope of finding other properties that are going to fulfill our needs? Do we, have we found any others that,
Nobody's been looking.
okay,
Oh, I've got another piece of property, but
I mean, this one has an actual
Yeah, it's got-
structure,
it's got-
building, and,
got excellent potential.
Does it-
The great part about this 1.8 acres is the 15 acres behind it, not saying we can afford it, but we're looking at, we don't know what's gonna happen with the waste treatment, we don't. We've been promised this, look at this, maybe here, maybe that. We're gonna build a mound system, we're gonna do a pond system, we're gonna have to build our own waste treatment. But, like I said, land ain't getting any cheaper, it's gonna continue to go up, especially commercial property. I mean, it's gonna go. I just feel like the longer we can go do some more studies, we can go look at other properties. We're just delaying it, postponing it another 2 or 3 months. In the meantime, that property may get sold. And I think it is a golden opportunity to buy the piece of property. I think it's an excellent spot for town hall.
how's the parking?
All kinds of room up there. Just go look at it. I mean,
Yeah, I just think we ought to go take a closer look at it.
I wouldn't ask this board to buy it until we all 5 went up there and looked at it.
Yeah, I agree.
And even if we get a fair market value on it, then look and see what it's gonna take to renovate that place. It's one reason I put 2 million in there to appropriate. So if we buy something for whatever it is, we know we're gonna spend $500,000 or $1 million more trying to build out offices, renovate it, do
Mhm.
whatever. So, the 2 million is not to buy the property, it's not, it's to buy the property and hopefully build that town hall. So, it's what capital outlay is, so. Yeah, there's other properties, there's another piece of property on 259A going toward the dam, 2.75 acres.
I don't think we've communicated to our property owners in the town that we're even looking at property. And I think
I'm scared to death to go out there and advertise, put it in the paper, because his phone is gonna go rattling off the wall.
well, that's when you put parameters on
It
it.
already is.
But, yeah. I think just looking at one property is not a smart move for the town. I think we need to have options.
What do you think, Bridget?
Well, I think I agree that it may be early to get an appraisal on a particular piece of property. I think that each of us should have more information. Well, I guess the appraisal would provide that information. But again, an appraisal is not a commitment to purchase either.
No, exactly.
My concern with ordering an appraisal on a particular property, when we don't have any other properties, they give you appraisal on this one, give us one on these 4. We have something to compare to. Because if the appraisal, again, the market shifts every day up here. What's available, what's not available, and I'd rather when we get ready to ask for that market appraisal, we ask it for the properties that we wanna look at.
I say we table it, and then we all go look at this property, and then that gives us some time over the next week or 2 to see what's available now, and potentially look at that piece you're talking about and find some locations, and and Todd as well, because Todd's familiar with, land purchasing, we can look at, several options, and yeah, I think it's wonderful to have options. get something moving pretty quick, because we can see
I
what
just
we're
know,
seeing.
I just know that there's other people looking at the property.
Okay. But could we,
But anyway,
we could go look at it pretty quick then?
Sure.
Yeah. Maybe have a special meeting and come back, potentially make a decision on it.
Do we wanna take no action on ordering a fair market appraisal at this time?
I think so.
Okay, we have a motion by Chad to take no action. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Brenda. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, ma'am. Howard Haggard,
no,
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Abstain.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters,
Yes.
Motion passed. Okay, 29, we took care of, we're rolling down,
You're on
folks.
34,
30,
new business.
31, 32, 33, 34, new business, any new business, any matter not known or which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior at the time of posting of the agenda. Anything new, anybody? I think we've done a good job of trying to get everything on the agenda that we can, all 35 items. Okay, hearing none, discussion, consideration, and possible action to adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion that we adjourn.
Todd makes a motion that we adjourn. We have a second.
Sorry. Motion to adjourn.
Okay, we have a second by Brenda.
Yes.
May we have a roll call vote, please?
Howard Haggard,
yes.
Diane Jordan,
Yes.
Todd McDaniel,
Yes.
Chad Sargent,
Yes.
Brenda Walters.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned at 5:22 p.m.
We turn